So, that just happened. The Backrooms movie is finally actually happening, and after so many teasers and leaks and posters, we finally have a good look at what this movie is actually going to be like. The trailer begins with a man talking that he's found something. A woman responds by asking what he's found, to which the man responds that he's just found a place, which is very descriptive. He says that it is massive, with a lot of rooms that just go on and on. He claims that this place built these rooms itself, but then goes on to correct himself, saying that it remembers places, and the more it remembers, the less it does. The phrasing of the more it remembers, the less it does is definitely a bit convoluted, and I have two ideas as to what that phrase could mean. Either one, it says that the more it remembers, the less it remembers, as in, when it replicates an area more, it begins bugging out a bit, like how even though the house in Found Footage 3 was a very accurate reflection of humanity, it was also a very unstable part of the complex, with the obvious rapture and null zone. So the more the complex accurately recreates humanity's building style, the more it stops working. Or either it says that more it remembers of a room, it stops building them. Essentially, it tries its absolute hardest to recreate rooms to the best of its ability, and when it's done building the room, it moves on. I feel like this is the more likely option, as the wording here makes it sound that way, but the other one is what I actually want it to be. So with the few plot synopsises that have come out about this film, I think I can make a little assumption as to what this conversation is about. Basically, one of the taglines for this film is "Some doors shouldn't be opened," which is an obvious nod to the threshold. It also refers to another door, because in another description for this film, it says that a door leading into the complex mysteriously opens up in the basement of a furniture store. Another synopsis for this film is that a therapist needs to save her patient after he mysteriously goes missing. I think it's safe to say that the female voice we hear is the therapist, and the male voice we hear is the patient. And I bet with that knowledge, we can make out the basic beginning of events in this film. We see the therapist talking to her patient about stuff, and then the patient brings up the complex. I bet that the patient works for the previously mentioned furniture store, so I think that after talking about the complex with the therapist, the patient goes back down into the basement to prove he's not crazy and uses a camcorder so when he comes back up, he can give real evidence, and also as a fun nod to found footage styles. However, he ventures in a bit too far and he gets lost in the complex. And after looking all over it, the therapist eventually tries to see if there even is a door in the basement, to which there is, and then she needs to find the patient before it's too late and the life form eats him. And I haven't even touched on what we're seeing right now. I already like the trailer now. Just stop! So we see a room with furniture, including a soft armchair and a window set. We then phase through the floor and see a lot of the furniture missing, but the chair and window set is still there. We go through the floor again, and now the chair is partially clipped into the floor, just like in Static Dead End, and the windows are completely blank. Aside from this one that's broken, and even though there's a void behind it, it's a possibility that this void is the night sky of the Red neighborhood, as we have seen many behind-the-scenes photos of this film showing its existence. We repeatedly go through the floor, showing the room getting more and more unstable, before seeing the complex itself, before getting the logo and film and release date. So obviously, this whole trailer is reminiscent of Mark and George's conversation from Static Dead End, and I think that video was essentially prepping us up for the movie at this point. The rooms here getting more and more distorted most likely shows us the actual process of the complex recreating reality to the best of its ability, but then when it tries too hard, it ultimately ends up breaking, and it just defaults to building regular office buildings instead. These little walls sticking out up off the floor remind me of the indoor racetrack from the original location the Backrooms was shot in, like with the barriers and the little walls. I can't wait for this movie, and you don't know, but I was very much keeping up with updates and leaks related to this movie, and to finally see it as what it truly is incredible. If you didn't know, this movie takes place in the Kane Pixels Backrooms universe, and Kane views it as, if anything, an extended episode of his series, which I find very interesting. I cannot wait to see how the final product will turn out, and I am getting the Lifeform popcorn bucket.